Hello, and we are back with more of the MGS2 Very Easy League semifinals. Earlier today, we saw GoGo BMN versus yours truly, JoJo Star 316. GoGo BMN won the match. He will be in the grand finals, and this match tonight, which was supposed to be the first but was delayed due to internet technical difficulties, will be against dlimes, or it'll be dlimes13 against Plywood. And I am joined by my co-commentator, Platonic Guy. How you doing, Platonic?
Hey, doing all right.
Yeah, this is going to be an intense matchup. I mean, either one of these guys has the skill sets, they have all the tools, but the real question is who could face up against GoGo BMN and his insane 101.59 run earlier? Because I'll tell you, I was trying to chase him and I ate nothing but dust.
Yeah,
just you just can't catch up with the guy.
I watched the VOD of that video. BMN really played well. There are some moments where there were some like awkward cartwheels into walls and stuff that made it surprising that it was a one-on-one. But if he can pull off a one-on-one even with those mistakes, like I'm just curious what he can pull off with a really good run.
Right, right. But I'm sure both these guys are itching to go, and then we'll get into more detail as I hopefully swap us into the E League scene without breaking anything. Fingers crossed. And there we go. Beautiful. All
I
right,
guess my
so
name is long this time, unlike you.
for a second, I actually looked to see if D-Lime's actually changed it to long name Joe, because I know he loves doing that to trigger me, which it does. All right, so ready. Okay, we got ready from D-Limes. Ready from Plywood. All right, here we go. The second final semi-final of the Very Easy League. I know that's a mouthful, so countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! And off they go. Oh my god. Oh, the backstage commentary banter's already started. I'm Ped 2. I
I
guess
hope
maybe you can
nobody
go
presses.
into.
I hope nobody presses that. Um,
I guess for those wondering what we even mean, it's we tend to bash each other when things go wrong in certain ways, and D-Limes during a really good run pressed his numpad 2, which was a hotkey for the trainer any percent, which restarted. I forgot exactly what fight it was, if it was Ray's or
It was
or
the Solidus
Saldus.
Solidus speech right before race, and I
Uh,
think he was like on the edge of world record pace. It was like very tight.
Yeah, and then I think from what I've heard, he dusted himself off, reran that run, and actually, did just as good, if not better. But it was
He got
certainly
record.
hilarious when when I heard about it.
Yeah, he got
But
record by quite a bit on the next run.
yeah, so for now, it's just going to be a race to Olga, which can be an early indicator on who gets an early lead. Just either marginal or sometimes pretty severe, depending on the Olga. So it looks like Plywood got right, and
Lime.
D-Limes got
I've been with
left.
the unit
Okay,
since I
that's
was
fine.
born.
Limes
I
is
grew
gonna
up
have
on
the
the
faster Olga
battlefield,
here because he got the
conflict, and
early left
victory were
shot.
my parents.
It's just a tad bit faster, but it can be tricky if you don't know how to react to that situation.
We've shared everything, all the bad and all
Plywood
the
gets a
good.
back Olga. Both of them get back Olgas. So I think
Yeah, but I think you're
overall,
right.
Limes had a slightly faster Olga.
Yeah, because like as Olga takes stamina damage, it actually ticks down a few percent during the dialogue that she does.
Yeah.
But it's being adaptive to her RNG as far as which way she goes, and sometimes she'll just throw a curveball at you, and then she'll just go the opposite way, even when she starts going left. For example, she's done that to me, and I'm just throwing my hands in the air, like, what do I do against that?
All right. So while we're in tanker, I should probably explain a new change to the route. So when we started messing around with turbo and then dav drops and stuff like that, Apache figured out that if you turbo square going upstairs, you can actually skip a few steps. We call it the stair glide. If you notice, Plywood actually didn't equip his USB yet. And that's because, and so did Limes. That's because they're preparing to do stair glides. This is one of the rooms that you're going to see it, and now, if they get it, Lime's got a really good stair glide. You can skip several steps, and if you imagine how many staircases there are in Tanker, you can save a good amount of time.
Yeah, I guess as you were saying that, I just looked at the layout again, and he did change it.
Joe Long game.
Oh, dlimes. Yeah, not to bring it off topic, but I was just doing like another technical check, making sure our volumes are good, because I know we had a bit of a weird start to the day. But yeah, like you said, it's pretty amazing what little
crashed into the
Monka.
stairs. Yeah, but should be fine. That means Plywood has regained the lead just a little bit now, but it's still really tight.
Yeah, I mean, from eyeballing it, it only looks like it's maybe like by 2 to 3 seconds, which in this
That could come
category
down
isn't.
to 2 to 3 seconds this early in the race. This could come down to what do you call it? Just stream
holds.
delay. So, well, no, I meant like the difference is basically the stream delay, probably. So it's practically even at this point.
Yeah, but I guess I forgot what I was trying to say before I got us off topic. But like with the, it really is fascinating. Like with the use of turbo more than just for, like the busy stuff, the codecs, the cutscenes, maybe opening hatches. But when you use them on the stairs, which I believe BMN told me he referred to it as like David Wild stairs, which is kind of the same concept but just in a different use. Instead of from dropping down the ledge, it's using on the steps. So. Guard rush. Bit of a pause buffer from Plywood, which not sure.
Yeah, I've seen him messed with that recently, so it's gonna look like that Limes has a little bit of a lead here, but pause buffering strats.
Yeah, because for every time you pause the game, it does pause the in-game timer. There's other places in the game where you could use it, which I know dlimes does it in the B1 show on core when locating aims. See, dlimes getting through just fine. Plywood doing the one punch buffer. I've actually started doing that recently. I really like it.
Plywood, here we go.
Oh, let's go!
That is a scary right side, but it worked.
Oh man, Plywood is all in.
If all goes well, he could save a few seconds here over Limes. He's also pause buffering that. The final.
Oh, that turn.
Yeah, that's a scary
Wow.
turn. You don't want to step on the noisy floor. The difference in the holds now, you'll be able to tell from the timer on the right of the game. On right side, you can get like up to a 23, 24. On left side, you can get like a 21, assuming all goes well. Lime's got a 19. Plywood got a 20, so about a second saved in the entirety of the holds from Plywood.
I just can't believe what I witnessed.
I mean, it's the first right attempt we've seen in the league, isn't it? Or no, Tino. I think Tino's messed with it as well in league.
Actually, didn't you do it during the regular season? I believe when you were racing me. Like, I think you tried to go for it, but I don't know if hole 2
no, I think I went left side against you. I think the only one I did it against was Mayu. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah, maybe that was it. I mean,
yeah, I think I went for it and then I failed it. I think I got to continue. I don't remember. It was really early in the league.
Yeah, I mean, it looks really scary to do right side, but after seeing it done like that, it's like, man, because like I know he was practicing that on a different occasion, which I believe was during it was either one of his streams or one of the stream team slots that he does on Mondays, where he was trying to mess around with right side hold 1. And I gotta say, I'll give him credit for pulling it off during a race, because I think very well platonic stuff like that's needed for world record PB grind, because now Bestwick quote unquote holds the world record until he actually submits his run as well as the splits. Hashtag release the splits.
Yeah, VE is getting to the point where we've always mentioned how VE is all about the small time saves. It was mostly about just having consistent runs. more than the small time saves, even though those still matter. But now we have to start bringing in the riskier strats. VE is getting that optimized in terms of the time on the board. But yeah, I think with if you notice with Plywood, he paused right before he rolled into the guard for right side hold one. That's a setup that Tino came up with, where you use D-pad and you pause buffer just to align yourself properly. And I know Plywood's messed with it in previous streams. So I think Plywood has like 2-3 pause buffers so far. So it's IGT is going to be a bit weird because I know Limes also does pause buffer strats, especially when you get to aims afterwards.
Yeah, I know dlimes does it for aims pretty much like every time, and it's just like we explained, it does pause the timer, and you can actually use part of that pause screen to kind of get a peek into where aims could be. But Metza, thank you for the raid. You guys are just in time for the Very Easy League semifinals of Plywood versus dlimes. I'm long named Joe. Even though I'm Joseph Joestar 316, but dlimes just loves changing my name in the layout, so I'm long named Joe for tonight. And I'm joined by Platonic Guy.
Yep.
And that dlimes, man. But anyways, about this race. So I imagine Plywood is going to be going the conveyor route, while dlimes going for the clockwise traditional, aka non-conveyor route when it comes to bomb defusal.
Yeah, I'd
Because
be
I think,
surprised if it's not that.
yeah, because like I know Plywood was learning like the conveyor routing and then glitching to get on top of the conveyor belt and use the box to warp you across the plant. And it was like once you started doing it, I think like me with the swim glitch, once you started doing it, you kind of like doing it and don't revert to the other way of whatever it was.
Yeah.
But it does have its drawbacks because like you do have to like execute the box out of bounds perfectly each time to make it like worth your while over a traditional clockwise route, which we'll get to see shortly.
Yeah, keep in mind, in this category specifically, very easy PC, when we timed it, we estimated that it's roughly the same. At best, conveyor might be slightly faster, but it's really tiny. Um, I think the reason that Plywood goes for it is conveyor might be the future of MGS2 runs in general. Not this category specifically, but console, harder difficulties, stuff like that. Because we know, like Thick European Extreme, for example, I timed it. It's 15 seconds faster on European Extreme PC. You can only imagine how much it's going to save on console.
Yeah, I mean, it really opens the door for you know, what could have been like a ceiling limit to like how far you could push or run outside of, you know, natural variance, you know, versus adding in now this conveyor belt tactic, which we'll see from Plywood. dlimes going the more traditional route where you just go clockwise, fuse the bombs as you get to them. Plywood going the opposite way, disarming the bomb in the bathroom first in strut C. And then as he makes his way to strut A, he'll pick up the first of two boxes that he'll need. And correct me if I'm wrong, Platonic, but I believe it's box A and box C.
Well, yeah, but the game called, well, it's box 1 and 3, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, same difference. I mean, I don't even do it, so it just goes to show what I know. All I know is you got to get two boxes, and you got to step up on this conveyor, which I haven't even touched that, you know, that strategy yet. But at this point, you'll see these guys kind of like meet up. I think it's usually around strut F or EF connecting bridge, depending on how each of the racer is kind of like progressing.
Yeah.
So it looks kind of difficult now to see like who's really ahead because, you know, one person's in strut A and the other one's in, you know, strut E helipad. So it's kind of hard to gauge, well, who's really winning at this point. And for me, I really don't know because again, these guys are both good at what they do. And then really the only way I know is when they make it down to like the last bomb, and dlimes' feed is Okay, on stream it's okay, but it froze for me.
Oh.
I'm just gonna refresh my capture.
Yeah, these routes usually converge on the EF connecting bridge or on strut F, but we usually have a good idea. Well, we'll be able to tell who's ahead when they both meet up at strut A roof before fortune, because at that point the route is over. You're back to just non-bomb disposal part of the game. So yeah, they're basically aligned right now on this box, but they're gonna go opposite ways after defusing it.
It's like, hey, dlimes. It's like, hey. they go their separate ways. They're like, yep, see you later. But yeah, I think at this point it's I really don't know. You're the better expert as far as like Plywood's route is concerned, but dlimes looks like he's just kind of doing his thing. Maybe just like little things here and there with menuing, but nothing like out of the ordinary.
Yeah, I think if they meet up on strut F, it might be that conveyor is slightly slower. The person who did the route is slightly slower, but Plywood has done a bunch of what do you call it, pause buffer strats so far, so it's kind of hard to gauge who's ahead right now.
Let's see. Missed Coolant Rise from dlimes, but it's just gonna cost them probably like a second and a half. But yeah, really at this point, it's just kind of trying to see who gets down to the strut A elevator first.
Yep.
Which we're gonna see 2 box warps from Plywood. One being to warp to strut. I think it's strut B.
He's gonna
And
teleport to strut C because he does
Strut
a slightly
C.
different. This is the original route for conveyor.
Right.
He's gonna teleport to strut C, and he's gonna pick up sensor B from there, and he's gonna go to strut D to defuse his final bomb. And then after that, he's just gonna teleport straight to strut A. So there you go. He just picked up box 3. That's the one that's gonna take him into strut A afterwards.
Man, it's like as long as you understand it, I guess I understand it too. But it really just goes to show like how much work is put into.
Very nice get up.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to get on there before I said anything else because broadcasters curse.
I guess since we're talking about
commentators
conveyor a
curse.
lot, yeah, I guess since we're talking about conveyor a lot, and we mentioned it a lot during the league, the original glitch I believe was found by Magnum66. He's found a lot of glitches in the Metal Gear games. I think he's pretty much the guy who figured out all the necessary components for MGS1 any percent. I could be wrong about that. I think he figured out this glitch, and then earlier this year, Stealth Edge showed us a route that uses this glitch, which is basically just conveyor belt now. And as soon as he showed it to me and everyone else, I started working on it with a few others until it just found its way onto VEPC. So there you go. Limes is done with bomb disposal, so now he's just gonna take the most direct route to what do you call it? To
Strut
the
A.
strut A roof. Yeah, to the strut A roof. Plywood is done with his bombs. He's gonna get his codec for the Stillman codec that has the timer on. That gives you the timer for the strut A roof, and then he's going to use the conveyor belt one more time just to teleport there. So it's gonna be interesting to see who makes it first. I think dlimes might come out ahead. There's also the IGT pause thing, so it's kind of misleading. You saw Plywood use the box there. Now that he has the box, he can actually use some of the mechanics that we use on harder difficulties on this, such as just preventing guards from shooting at you. Okay, there you go. So yeah, dlimes is about a staircase ahead, RTA-wise.
Yeah, and I guess like you said with IGT, it's kind of hard to, really kind of gauge who exactly. Like I feel like it's slight advantage to dlimes right now.
Yeah,
But those
probably.
pop buffers do add up for every time it's done, even if it's only pausing it for like a second at a time. But
So
it's still anybody's race.
yeah, so with all the races that we've had in VE League, the winner will be decided by IGT. So we're gonna go all the way to the score screen after credits to decide who ended up winning this match. So you can abuse pause buffering, which runners have done in the league so far.
Yeah, and we've actually seen not only close calls in, the finish times, but we've actually had a tiebreaker, which was between Apache Spanish and Tino, where they both had a 105-10, which per VE League rules is that if there's ever a tie by the IGT at the end, then both runners go to a Tanker IL tiebreaker, meaning the winner of that Tanker IL with the fastest time is declared the winner, while I believe in the points allocation, the other person that doesn't win the overtime tiebreaker, but they still get a point for just getting there. Which the points, along with the IGTs that they get, like they do add up in the end.
Well, the points
Um,
was I think just the league, not the playoffs now. But yeah,
well, right. But yeah, this is Fortune. It's not an auto scroller as you might think. That there's actually things you need to do to optimize the fight and things you don't want to do that'll slow it down. And Plywood got
she
the
talked.
extra line.
So this is not
And
good for plywood. You want to avoid Fortune talking as much as possible. She'll talk at the start of the fight, that's fine. Where she says like "kill me now." Um, but if she talks later on in the fight, that's usually a bad sign. It means you might have messed something up, and you're probably going to lose a little bit of time. So D-Limes will most likely come out ahead here. There's the
yeah,
codec.
it's like I think
Oh,
what
she's still
happens
shooting
is,
for plywood.
yeah, he's gonna lose probably like at
Okay,
least six
fine.
plus. Because what happens is when you're trying to get her to blow up the golden barrels on the left and right sides of the room, only her railgun can destroy it. And when she destroys one, and you tend to like move away to dodge the explosion, just moving away is enough to kind of trigger that extra dialogue line. And every time it happens, it's kind of like it's adding more time to the encounter, even though you are waiting it out. But there's things you don't want to do to extend it, and even like the way they start the fight is important. But then again, still pretty early into this race, even though D-Lime's coming out ahead.
So,
Now the next question is Fat Man.
yeah, right before Fatman, this is usually where we pick up our chaffs right after the Fortune fight. Both players opted out of it, so we're going to see chaffless routes from both of them. Which I have a feeling, I think chaffless is slightly slower. It's a lot safer though. But I've noticed that chaffless actually gives you better menus for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that's the thing I like about it is, you don't have to menu over a tier
Yeah.
because of a chaff that you're not going to really use until Shell 2. One for the KL cipher alert, and then the other to get into Shell 2 with the ciphers that are floating overhead. But on the flip side, then you have to resort to a, really kind of Monka-esque cartwheel and then dodge the gunfire, or either trank the guard or do the knock, which I tend to do.
All right, so
But
lethal
anyways,
Fatman for limes. He's going for the slightly newer setup. I believe plywood's going to go for non-lethal. This is a really good Fatman for limes. He's going to get like a 44. You got a slow bomb. Slow bomb.
that's
Perfect
really nice
non-lethal
on Lethal
for
Fat Man.
plywood. Yeah, he used the Ed Boy setup there where you do the PPK thing just to time yourself correctly. Do a cartwheel into Fatman just to knock him down, and then um, 4 M9 shots into his head, and that should be enough. It is slightly faster to use non-lethal Fatman, so he might have gained some time there.
Yeah, I mean it's still a pretty lit race right now, and the next obstacle that's going to come up for both of these guys is going to be how they make their way into the B1 core, as well as Ames's location. And I guess in backstage, and I guess just double check that your feed is updated, because I know it lagged for me for D-Limes for a little bit, and I had to refresh it. But I expect both of these guys to do the Claymore strat, as we call it, where we take the Claymore that was acquired from the EF connecting bridge earlier, and we self-detonate it in the B2 section by the computer lab. And as you can see, both these guys doing the D-pad maneuver to avoid the mine. I guess Tino and I are just the only renegades left that use the analog for everything.
I like how I'm just not counted in.
I mean, well, do you still use the analog? I thought you used the D-pad now. You
No,
converted over.
I did it in one race. I wasn't feeling confident with analog, but I am still an analog guy for EF.
For shame. I mean, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But, I mean, if D-Lines is going to watch this back, EF Analogers for life. Represent.
I don't know if you mentioned this, but there's recently a new menu optimization if you're doing the Claymore strat. As soon as you're done with the ninja cutscenes after Fat Man, cartwheel, equip the coolant because it's already on your previous, and then just switch to Claymore. There you go. Limes is doing the Claymore strat, and Plywood should follow up with it as well. Yep. Basically, the Claymore strat is faster on average, slower optimally, because you still want a fast elevator optimally, but the chances of you getting a fast elevator in this game are really slim. So the idea behind the strat is to cause an alert in the elevator, have the alert tick down to evasion, and what happens there is the assault team units are going to go and investigate where the alert was caused, which just happened to be inside the elevator. So that just keeps the elevator open the whole time. Cancels out the RNG of fast or slow elevator.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the thing I like about it is, you know, it's a luck of the draw if you get a fast elevator in this game. I mean, I tend to just get, like, none, maybe one, if the game just shows mercy, but I do like the idea that it keeps the elevator door open and it gives you plenty of time to get there. So D-Lime's getting a Southeast Ames with a Young Jenny seed, which the passage pattern will vary based on your system clock. And Plywood getting the Old Lady seed using the pause buffer to minimize time loss while looking for aims, and he got Northwest.
So that's the benefits of pause buffering there. You can have a look ahead just in case you don't get a good aims. So you kind of just predict that you're going to get one of the worst possible aims, and it happened. And that's exactly what happened for Plywood. I think overall that's equivalent.
Oh god, dude, he was. I had a feeling he was gonna do that. He did it yesterday. I was like, man, you're crazy. He did this really, really late, like shot where he's getting the alert like as he's like pressing the button because you cannot call or operate the elevator when you're under an alert. And I was just like, man, he was crazy for yesterday doing it. And he did it again. But I guess to address one of the questions. Why they take off the BDU when they enter the core, and that's because even on PC, the game loads, I guess, like slightly slower because of the way it renders the BDU outfit versus the sneaking suit, and it's even more noticeable on the console versions of MGS2. I mean, you could try it for yourself, like try entering the B1 core or even Shell 2 with the BDU versus the sneaking suit, and the difference is night and day. But I don't remember what the time is like time save for PC with it on versus off, because with PC there are technically no loads, quote unquote, but it does slow the game down, I feel like is maybe the right way to phrase it.
Yeah, I think it has to do with it might be that most of the FMVs do count towards your load time. If you notice, like if you have the auto splitter opened while you're skipping cutscenes, you'll notice like it pauses a lot. But like even there, like on Shell 1 core, if you unequip the BDU versus equipping it, you'll notice that you can save like almost an entire second over all those cutscenes with aims just in that room on PC. Anyways, both players approaching Harrier. Limes is starting off with the Semtex bridge. No swag shot, just playing it a little bit safer. I think he did attempt it though.
Yeah, I mean, for those that have seen me run this game, or perhaps others, I just have a bad history when it comes to this bridge, regardless of what difficulty it is. But the nice thing about it is it's just less bombs. You don't have to manage Batazamines to get steady aim. So now Harrier. So D-Lime's going for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 high damage
I
with the
imagine
+20
Plywood is
follow-up.
going to go for the two-shot thing. Limes is not going down. I think he's been messing up the die shots recently, so he's just going to play it safe, go for slightly slower menus, but as long as he gets both die shots, which he did. Plywood got 2.5 shot to start, so he is on pace to match the 5+1 from Limes if everything else goes well here. 1, 2, does he get the flyover? He does. This is a really good Harrier. Oh, that's unfortunate with the last shot, but this should be equivalent. Oh no, he goes to the first die
Oh,
shot. So this is slightly slower, but it's not that bad. Okay, so it is slightly slower than a 5+1, but he's still in it.
still anybody's race, and especially because of all the pause buffers that he used in the core earlier. But still, slight advantage to D-Limes, maybe even more so, given Aim's position and slightly slower Harrier. And wow, man, dude, Plywood is just all in. Right side holds. He goes to the pipe. I mean, man, I gotta applaud him.
What's
He,
interesting
he
is
is just all in.
BMN recently timed the pipe thing. Turns out it's slightly slower. So Leap of Faith is still the fastest way to do that. But that's assuming you do the cartwheel over the stairs after Leap of Faith. But apparently Plywood likes doing the pipes over Leap of Faith. I find it harder um, than Leap of Faith. Lime's got a stair glides there. If you didn't notice, it was a really good one as well.
Yeah, I mean, I try to take no unnecessary chances. Even when it feels like I'm not gaining any time. I mean, all it takes is either one wrong cartwheel or a slip, and you're going for a really costly swim. But yeah, so big hurdles are behind both these guys now, making their way into Shell 2. The next task is acquiring the Nikita missile launcher to take out a circuit panel box in the room guarding President Johnson.
Very nice use of the box there from Plywood to avoid the stagger that happens when you get shot by a Cypher. That's one of the benefits of going to conveyor is like you have the box that you can use later on in the game. I believe there might be 2 other rooms that he uses it as well. And he followed that up with a nice stair glide as well. I would say that Limes is probably
Yeah, he's not doing the reverse flip. I mean, I think he just. I feel like he's told me that like sometimes he feels like it's gonna eat his input where you flick the right analog stick ever so slightly when you're picking it up, and it allows Raiden to turn around mid swim and then go the other direction. But I've had it happen where I'll go to do it and then I just keep swimming forward and I'm ending like with like a +3 or 5 on my split because I went too far and the right analog stick didn't work for me. So that's what it looks like on Plywood screen when you execute it successfully. But for some, they just say, you know what, to heck with it.
So I would say, even if you factor in all the pause buffering, I think Limes is probably one swim glitch ahead of Plywood right now, which is going to make things interesting because Plywood is very consistent with swim glitch, which makes me wonder if D-Limes is going to consider it. I know he's been doing it a lot ever since we messed with Turbo Swim Glitch.
Yeah, I mean, knowing these guys, I imagine they're kind of like keeping tabs on what the other person's up to. And on paper, the way this looks right now, I feel like Plywood has to do it, and I imagine he will. I mean, he just seems to do it regularly, like myself anyway. Although at the beginning, when we first started, I don't think he knew how to do it just yet, but he got better over time and just does it regularly now. D-Limes, has the tools to do it, but he tends to make these calculated decisions, whether if he feels like he needs to do it or not, gauging, what gap there is, or if the risk reward is worth it. Which in this case, I feel like he has time to attempt it. But if it fails, then he's just gonna abandon it and then just swim normally, as you really should, because.
Well, he's shooting the SOCOM, so it's usually a sign that he's going for it.
But he's
Here we
done
go.
this before, where it's like a debate, or was that somebody else that did it?
All right, here you go.
All right, so here he
Did get a
goes.
lot of height at the start. This is not a
Uh,
good beginning.
All right, so that's
Might be a
1,
3 cycle. Oh, and Plywood got a fast elevator as
2.
well. Oh, he has to
Oh
abandon.
boy.
He's abandoning. If
He is
Plywood
he is
gets a good
ditching.
swim
Yep,
glitch now,
that
oh,
is not good. And now this is gonna give Plywood a chance to,
here we
kind
go.
of, capitalize on this opportunity here.
All right, Plywood
So
starting.
here he goes. It's going up, trying to get out of bounds out over the water, which
Oh,
he is,
wow.
and oh,
Race
what
on.
cycle! Oh my God, we have a race again, just like
Wow.
that. Man, he
Plywood's
was
going to be in
doing
the
this
lead.
earlier, and yeah, he did it again.
Plywood's in the lead. We still have Vamp 1. Both players use the safety turbo method. Plywood will lose about 7-ish seconds having to open the door back, but I think this is pretty much Plywood in the lead now.
Yeah, I think it's like if you execute it perfectly, meaning you do it in one like ascension attempt, which we call cycles. I think on PC you net 18, but you lose, like you say, 6 to 7 because of the second hatch that's still closed. But it nets you about 12, which is really good in this situation, because dlimes did try to go for it, and abandoned it, whereas Plywood did get it right away. But man, dude, this is exciting. Also, I'm sure Plywood would appreciate all the Plywood champs. Best emote of Plank I've ever seen. But
Yeah,
even with the swim glitches, out of the way now, I mean, it's not over until we get that score screen, because again, we've had pause buffers here, better
very
aims
nice frame
there.
1.
Yeah, so it's definitely something right now.
Alright,
I'm on the edge of my seat watching.
I'm gonna time the RTA from whenever they get past the door that they have to open, which only Plywood has to, Lance does not. Obviously that's RTA. We have no idea what the IGT is right now. But
Yeah, I mean, we can only
I
like.
think both players have played really well so far. Plywood got a bit unfortunate with his Harrier, but he didn't lose as much time as it looked like.
Yeah, I feel like this has been going back and forth for quite a bit. I mean, maybe one having a little bit of a longer stride than the other, but this swim glitch definitely changes things.
Plywood is ahead by about 5 seconds RTA-wise. We have no idea what that means for IGT, but RTA-wise, Plywood is 5 seconds ahead. I think we've mentioned the pause buffering a lot during this run. I think Plywood has had more pause buffers because of a lot of stuff in Tanker and stuff. But
Yeah.
it also matters how long each player pause buffered, especially in the aim section.
Yeah, I mean, like for every pause buffer, it could just be for like a fraction of a second, but over time that could add up to like, a couple seconds like IGT of what could have been lost. But until then, I mean, I guess we're just kind of, we're waiting in anticipation as everybody else is that's watching. But until now, we're just kind of, escorting Emma over to the Kale connecting bridge area. Man, look at that guard. He's tired. I mean, I know it's late.
So I'm interested in if either player have each other's stream up. I know Limes will almost always have the stream open to see where he and the other player is. I'm not sure about Plywood though.
I don't know. I mean, it's.
Plywood may not have the stream open, considering the internet issues that he had earlier today.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think he normally does, but maybe just doesn't want to chance it because, like I explained earlier at the beginning of the broadcast, was we were originally scheduled to do this semifinal first, followed by the one that was, myself racing BMN. But Plywood was having, pretty bad, internet issues, and we had to kind of, make an executive decision on, what to do about it, and
Oh,
so
D-Limes.
maybe it's just taking no chances with the internet and. Man, Monka S ciphers.
That was weird. Like all the AK rounds just missed for whatever reason.
I don't know, man. It's like even something like a cipher. It's like you could never relax in this game. You know what I mean? It's like you're dragging Emma around. It's kind of a slow pace, and you get these ciphers you got to deal with, and it's like
Well,
it
this
wakes
is
you
one
up.
moment where not necessarily the runners, but I guess us, we can relax before all the madness of Arsenal gear begins.
Actually, a great way to describe Arsenal gear. It is just madness.
I
Except for
mean,
Semicolon. Semicolon is my time to meme.
ascending colon is actually a very nervous point for me in the game because I'm always nervous that like, did I swipe? So I'm just like swiping every second.
And actually, fun fact about the auto splitter that's used for running MGS2. Uh, BMN's contributed a lot to this game as well as MGS1 PC when it comes to the live split auto splitters that he's programmed. And he's even done other stuff like this ASL variable, which is uh, it's a variable text that will display on the runner's end on things like the ascending colon timer, when you have to wait after you swipe the blade, chaff timer, caution timer. It really does give a lot of useful information. But more recently, he's done things like the caution any percent mod and the trainer percent, which is part of that numpad 2 meme for T-Limes because he hit the hotkey during the Solidus speech.
It's not
But
surprising. DMM secretly has the source code for this game hidden somewhere. I'm joking.
I mean, I keep saying this, and it's like, you never know what the guy's thinking, and I mean that in a good way because he really does contribute a lot of ideas, like in and as well as like outside of the game. What if it's, like maybe like speed running strats or just things with the life split that he's like improved upon. But before we do get to the madness of Arsenal gear, with sniping, it's just taking out Cypher's guards. The beauty of Very Easy is just like the connecting bridge, you don't have to worry about shaky aim. There's no claymores on any of the water bridges, as there would be on other difficulties. And so it is kind of like a moment to, relax, maybe peek what the other runner's up to. I tend to draw smiley faces on the wall.
Unfortunately, this part of the game is an auto-scroller. You can only go as fast as Emma walks. She walks at the same speed the whole time, but she can be interrupted if she gets spotted by a guard or she falls or something. So players tend to be extra careful here. There's no reason to do anything that makes you go faster because there is nothing that can make you go faster. So just play it safe, make sure you're not making any mistakes that would cause her to fall or something.
And if this section drives you crazy as it does for probably the rest of us, there is a bounty out there for anybody that finds a skip, a major skip in this game, whether if it's skipping the sniping, skipping the Solidus speech. I mean, it can be anything. And I believe it is a grand total of $1,000. So if you have a big skip and you can record it, share it, there's $1,000 waiting for you. Because I gotta tell you, if there is a way to skip this sniping section at Very Easy, I think we would all be happy.
No, actually, I like just wasting 7 minutes per run, just sitting around doing nothing.
But the sub 1 hour possibilities, the sub 1 hour, like we're already like closing in on it. I mean, until like
imagine what the RT. I think right now the record is 52 minutes RTA, final hit on Solidus. If we
Yeah.
skip this section, we're in the 4x territory for RTA.
Yeah, that's incredibly crazy.
Well, RTA is a bit misleading. RTA, IGT at the end of the Solidus hit, not RTA. RTA I think is more like 54-ish on the current record. But still, it would still be in the 4x territory.
But yeah, big skips. Find one, share it, bounty. Yeah, I mean we're riffing here. I mean it is 7 minutes, but I guess we can also do some promotion, as Papa Plywood would say. If you're watching this channel, you know, we appreciate you guys, and make sure to follow this channel as well as our other community sources, such as our MGS2 Discord, as well as the at MGS Runners Twitter page. Also follow at Apache Smash on Twitter. I mean, not just only to keep the meme going, but the guy does a lot of good work managing the page. I help him with it, as well as the other members of the social media and design team. We've had a lot of amazing transformations on that page, and we've gained a lot of followers on that, as well as this Twitch channel. So we would definitely welcome you over there if you're interested in wanting to perhaps maybe learn how to run VE, or if there's another Metal Gear game that interests you for speedrunning, or if you just want to be part of an awesome community. MGSR Discord. Join today. How did I do?
Pretty good.
Nice. Oh, wait, we're still in sniping. Oh, man. Oh, man, I really wish there was a skip out. Okay, so Plywood is... Okay, yeah, there was Vamp, and he's dead. And look, there's Vamp again, and he's dead. The amazing power of Turbo.
Even without Turbo, it's mostly the setup with the keyboard, or I guess just the slightest left input on your controller makes that fight. Usually, we just tell players to like zoom in and stuff, but on Very Easy, we can just like tap the keyboard left. I guess you can also do that on other difficulties. You just have to be careful with ammo count.
I've actually figured out a way now on my controller to kind of like, it's not tap left anymore, it's like down and slightly left, and that seems to give me consistent placement, because I know it was like Apache first told me about like the keyboard, and it was, for whatever reason, my keyboard tapped left and my D-pad were like 1-to-1, like they were the same, which didn't help me at all. I was hoping the keyboard would be less, you know, just like a quick touch.
Unfortunately, not all keyboards like give the same amount of left input. I'm lucky that I have a keyboard. That my keyboard just happens to be just enough for that fight, but not everyone has that. Has a keyboard that gives you the same amount of left input.
I don't know, could I borrow the magic powers of your keyboard whenever I'm running and I'm on a PvP base then? So I don't have to do this like surgical touch with the controller and pray to God I'm not missing Vamp or, you know, possibly kill Emma.
Do you really want to use my tech doing your runs? Like, you're probably just gonna crash at some point.
No. It's only when we're racing each other that these technical issues arise. I mean, this is different.
All right, how about this? Me and you boot up the game right now and race while we're commentating, so the entire stream just crashes.
Okay. All right, yeah. I mean, that's cool. I mean, we can finally have our rematch, and you know, no gyro sensor shenanigans. I mean,
Olga, you can't keep this up. They're bound to find you.
Oh man, you know, we're trying. We're trying, you know, but we finally arrived at the madness, as the both of us are going mad right now. Which is now Arsenal gear, and it's still anybody's game right now, but I still feel like Plywood is ahead just by whatever margin it is. Neither one of us knows exactly what that margin is. Just given the recent events and, you know, the fights and pause buffers where they happened. But
yeah, I think Plywood is slightly in the lead. Like you said, there's still a lot of rooms where this could go wrong. The first one here, Jejunum. You get an alert on this room. It can go bad really quickly for you.
Is there somebody there?
yeah,
So I'm just gonna hold my breath while they get through this room.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's different ways to handle Jujunum, and any one of them can just fall apart in an instant. But what we're going to see from, I imagine, both is going to be a right side punch buffer to the Tengu so the alert doesn't kick in right away, followed by a cartwheel across the scary gap, which they both made. And like we keep saying, even though we're kind of unsure like what the exact margin is, I mean, again, we feel like Plywood is slightly ahead, is that we always go to IGT at the end of every race, regardless of how close it is. And maybe I could say this now, but like, what if there was another tiebreaker with
Oh
how
my
close
god.
this is?
Oh,
Because
I
we've
don't
already
even
had one
want to think
tiebreaker
about
during the
that.
regular season. You know, what if it happened today?
Tiebreaker in the semis. That's ridiculous.
But I guess, you know, in order to find it out, we're just waiting for Rose to call. Just got to stand at I guess just like at a certain part of the hallway and then just answer the codec like 5 or 6 times. And, you know, I just
That's
got
right.
word that one of those codecs says something about, uh, you know, a flapjaw worm from space and, you know, something about like a tuning fork and needing scissors 61. And then I got another thing in my note that says, Joe, stop losing my scissors. I'm running out of them. Metal Glen Solid. Crab emoji.
So a tanker IL, for anyone who doesn't know, an IL in speedrunning just means individual level. So when we say tanker IL, what we mean basically is just play tanker by itself. Start at the beginning of tanker, get to the end of tanker, and there will be a score screen for like 5-6 minutes depending on what your run was like. Um, for VE League, what we decided was in case a match is tied after the end of a full game run, both players will do a tanker attempt to see who wins it. Anyways, both players are going to be starting Tengu 1. From now till the end of the game, it's basically a boss rush.
Yeah. So it's just going to be a race to the other side of the room using the AK to take out Tengus in your way. And that was a really nice use of the box there. Depending on how you get through, every shot you take is like a little mini stagger. I tend to do this like veering to the side, which can kind of, you know, move around the shot. It's not consistent. And I think it's even maybe like a little bit slower than just going direct, but I just kind of like to go damageless for, I don't know, the swag. But Tengu 2 is where things can really change quickly because, especially again with the use of Rapid Fire Turbo, as well as just Snake's RNG with this fight in general, this could definitely have some sway as to either making this even tighter race than what it is. But the whole idea is just point the Stinger up at the upper railing, spam it, or just time it when the Tengus show up. But it's been found recently that using the turbo in such a way like this is actually really efficient as far as taking out the Tengus with minimal risk that they'll hop over the railing via iframes where they won't get killed by the missiles that you fire at it.
Pretty much. It gives you a consistent high 40-ish run. I think Limes just gained a bunch of time on that Tengu 2 from Plywood. I think maybe he might have gained like
It's
2 seconds-ish or so, and it was a 4-second lead before.
It's so close. Man,
Yeah.
it's so close.
So, with Rays coming up now, there is a riskier strat. Usually what we do is we'll kill the middle one, kill the left one, move back a bit, then kill the right one as he jumps on the field. But I did find a faster setup where you kill middle, right, then before left jumps in, you shoot him in the leg, then head. That's approximately 1 second faster. I've never seen Plywood do it. Limes, since he picked it up, has been consistent with it, so most likely he's going to go for it here, and he could gain 1 second back here. So it could be the case that we're going into Solidus where even RTA is tied.
Yeah, man, I'm on the edge of my seat.
And I like their items. Limes has the level 5 card, and Plywood has the phone.
Those days during the Civil War were as real as they come.
Man, memeing to the end, I love it.
Was absolute.
Maybe he's checking on like dlimes' progress on his phone, you know, just opening his live feed. Just be like, oh look, he's in the same place I am. So while we're waiting for Solidus' speech to be done, Raise is going to be easy as 1, 2, 3. And I'm not saying that as a meme, but it really is just shoot one, shoot the other, make sure their mouths are open when you do so, and then shoot the third. D-Lime's doing the riskier method, which he did get, and that will save him a second. Like Platonic said, you normally shoot middle, left, and then the Ray on the right will jump on stage for the finishing kill. But D-Limes did it the opposite way, and getting the third shot on the left Ray, or A1, if you memorize the numbers of the Rays, it'll allow you to get all 3 of the Rays without any of them jumping on stage, and it does save you about a second, and it makes this race even tighter than whatever it is right now.
So with Solidus, there is a little bit of RNG involved. It's not that much. Considering how tight this is, it could come down to a clean Solidus fight, plus whoever pause buffered more.
Man, this is a position I never want to be in when it's this close. I mean, and I've seen this happen already, and it resulted in a tiebreaker. And I think Apache even joked about saying, "Man, imagine if this tied." And sure enough, it was a 105-10 split between him and Tino. But yeah, it's just one fight away. I'm sure both of these guys are sweating bullets because I'm sure they know where the other is at. Unless if they're not keeping tabs on it too much. But at this point, I would not be surprised if they know exactly where each other is. But here we go. So
D-Limes had a slightly riskier start, so he is going to gain a little bit of time on that first swipe. Instead of punching him, you just swipe at him at the start. Alright, let's see who gets the short dash. Both players got it. So now it's basically how fast Solidus can approach them, and if any player messes up the block or parry. Oh god.
I'm not gonna say anything because
I'm just gonna
I don't want anything bad to happen. Okay, so both going for a block, so no, they are not risking a parry. And oh, but he missed the third slash. Oh, but Plywood did do the parry at the end.
Oh, Plywood wins on RTA by a few seconds.
And that is time for both. Dude, they are just a couple seconds apart.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Dude, what a race.
Hey,
what a race.
I think he's got it.
This
I think
is
he's
so
got
tight.
it. I think he's got it.
Oh.
I don't know, man. It's like, you know, he did pause buffer quite a bit in the core, even with worser aims, but it's gonna be tight.
Someone mentioned in chat earlier that D-Limes did start 2 seconds later. That's gonna gonna be a factor as well. Like, this is so tight, it could go either way. It could get Tanker Aya. Oh my god.
Let me just say a few things real quick. I've been playing like crap the last few days because I'm just mentally drained from this game and this category, and I'm just really happy to see VE in a place that it is today, and it's because of this community and all these wonderful players who have worked on this game for hours and hours tirelessly. I just want to say I love you all. Thank you, and whatever happens, happens. Like, I'm just glad I put on a hell of a show for y'all. I played like crap. I put everything I had into it. Obviously, swim glitch is what could cost me, but in the end, I don't care.
No, I don't think anyone would, would disagree with, it being like a, like an entertaining race around. I mean, Platonic and I were just like, we were just losing our minds just watching the back and forth, and we're just like, holding each other up like, man, who's ahead? We don't know. It's so close. But Half Squat, thank you for subscribing to the Metal Gear Speedrunners channel. Thank you so much. But yeah, you guys put on a hell of a race, and I know you guys have been working really hard on it, and I do kind of relate to like the burnout factor. I mean, just it does take a lot to get the run where it is, and like we said during the other semifinal, like the run has changed a lot, and world records have changed hands like 5 times. Maybe soon to
Yeah.
be if the Bestwick run gets uploaded and verified.
Yeah, and let me just follow up on the whole drain thing. Like, I I got world record back a couple weeks ago with a 1:1:47 in one of the most weirdest ways you can do it. I had the trainer on. For those who don't know, I had the trainer on world record pace at Ray's, like the speech before the Ray fight. I pressed 2 on accident because I was gonna check my next split. I killed myself and I literally threw away record or chance at record. I came back the very next run and got record by 8 seconds, and that took so much out of me since then that I haven't been able to replicate anything since. So, um, but GG Plywood, hats off to you, dude. Like you
I'm
like
You
sure
both played like out of
that
your
was
minds
that
that
whole
race, that run.
race was oh.
this was championship caliber. Like this was ridiculous.
So what this race reminded me of, and not everyone in chat, actually probably the vast majority of people in chat were not around for this, but
I
this
know what
race
you're gonna say.
reminded me of my race against Tromboncino in the finals of our MGS1 All Bosses tournament, because that literally, it was so close that we had like it was a photo finish, and it was very similar here. And poof, I don't know. I think it could go any which way. This could be a tie. This could be Limes. This could be me. I have no idea.
Could be me.
Um
It's true.
um
Tanakai with the steel chair.
on a technicality note, if what's your schedule for tomorrow? Because you've been kind of the one that's been dictating the schedule.
So whatever happens, my race needs to happen by 11 a.m. sharp Eastern.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if it's grand finals, then I mean you could technically have third after grand finals, but that is not really what most people would probably think of when they think of like a third
Yeah, a
place
little
in the
weird.
grand finals. It'd be weird.
Yeah.
Um,
But okay, good to know. So we're either starting at like 9:30, 9:15 Eastern tomorrow with third place, or we're starting at 11 a.m. depending on this outcome. So or I don't know.
I
Like,
know. Dictating the schedule of the only person that actually has some like obligations. It's kind of incredible that this race even happened this way, frankly, because I was worried when I came back home from work, my internet would still be cruddy and I'd have to go off of a mobile hotspot, which just sounds not fun. So
Yeah, I felt really bad for you. This morning when it just the upload just takes a dump and nothing gets through. I mean, it was working for a little bit and then it just completely froze on Olga, like on our end,
yeah,
where it
I'm
was
just
like,
glad no one saw my Olga. Okay, that was all you saw. Olga just crashed my game. When what happened, I got whoever you are, you're not stopping us. I'm like, all right, this race is over. But
oh man.
then the internet was over, so it was
yeah.
all part of the plan. Thanks, Comcast.
I think it might
Yeah.
have been the Lolly Lule Low. They kind of just hacked the internet and realized this Olga cannot happen. Even they realize it's like you
We
got
need
this
we
extra
need to
cutscene.
have we need to have a semifinal that's like a grand final.
Oh my god. I mean, with what I watched, I mean, it might as well have been like a grand final match. I'm not even joking. It's just, so many like gasps and, close calls. And even though, yeah, some of the outcomes were just, a little bit different on each one of you guys, but I just hope
Oh,
it's not a
I had
tiebreaker
my
for.
controller disconnect at one point, by the way, so I lost a couple seconds that way, which was
Oh
very
my
funny.
god.
Where did
Yep,
that happen?
that happened on the roof of Strade at the starter plant. There's
Do
like
you
the
do,
dialogue started playing, so if
do
everyone's
you play
wondering why it
wireless
wasn't
or do you
purple,
play with a cord?
I play with a cord.
I
And
think I noticed that you missed the codec, like answering it.
yeah, yeah, that was because my controller disconnected. I was like,
Oh
"Oh,
god.
this is perfect timing." Couldn't have happened during, like, sniping or something.
What
Yeah,
you
I think
could
But
do at that point is just tap escape. It'll just pause the whole game.
oh, yeah. Well, oh, yeah, you're right. Because then it would be like, "Do you wanna quit?" That's a
Yeah,
good
just tap
point.
escape, right
I'll remember that
enter.
next time. Just put a hold on everything. Also, I was very scared going into holds, as you might imagine.
I can't believe you even considered right side.
He's been doing it all week.
I've been practicing all week.
I saw that. I thought that was just
I
for
have to
TV
do this.
attempt.
I mean, I figured that was just part of like getting into that mentality for like, world record push. I never would imagine you did it in this kind of a race and just like crush
I
it.
literally have to throw all the stops at limes, especially because I was not comfortable going for 5 shot. I was like, "I'm gonna do what I'm comfortable with, even if it lost me time, because I
I
didn't wanna
noticed
get,
your
like, a."
Harrier, you got like unlucky at the end where it does like the half damage thing.
Yep.
No, that was unlucky, but it was a good Harrier other than that.
All right, here we go.
Here we go. Yeah, at the
All
same
right.
time.
Yep.
Mash
Alright.
Moment of truth.
or turbo, I guess.
And I guess just adding on to what was said in the chat that watching the cutscene at the end saves time and so does mashing print screen. But here
Can't
we go.
imagine.
All right. So our final times for both of our runners.
2:33, that's a PB.
Very
Give me.
A
nice.
102.33
Hold
and
me
a
Oh,
up that.
102.37. Oh, dude.
I told
GG.
Wow.
you. I told you.
Wow. 4 seconds apart. Man, I think we've had this happen
Who bet
before
on
where it's
me?
like
Who bet on me? Who bet on me? You're getting some points!
Oh man. Dude, yeah, congratulations to both you guys. It was, I think Platonic and I had a lot of fun commentating it. It was
I
neck
did. It
and
was a
neck.
really good race.
Yeah, it was a quality race, a very, very high quality race. But Plywood advances to the grand finals to face the Go-Go B-Man, while I face the music with D-Limes in the third place race matchup. But you know what? I mean, looking at these times, it's like, it's gonna be a hard race no matter who it was gonna be, but oh man.
Well, that was the
It's
best race I've had in years, so thanks, man.
Yeah,
No
congratulations on the
worries,
win,
dude.
Plywood. And then D Limes, I'll see you at the third place matchup. It's gonna be fun,
Joseph's,
pretty
like,
sure.
crying right now, he's like
There's gonna be plenty of memes involved. Maybe
Yeah,
some mind games. Using the analog and the EF bridge to trigger you. Maybe.
yeah. At this point, it's gonna be fun and games. Like I said, as soon as I screw up swim glitch, I'm like I'm in deep trouble. So, but I'll be honest, I'm a little relieved. So
yeah,
plywood,
I'm like, "Oh, great." I just have to pull
plywood,
out a 101 tomorrow and just get another PB, and we'll be totally in shape.
go kick his ass, please.
I would love to, but
Oh my god,
oh gosh.
Yeah,
you
we,
got
we all
10
love each
hours
other
to
at the end of the
prepare.
day.
I
But
was honestly ready to do a tiebreaker. I was like, "This is gonna happen, isn't it? I'm gonna have to do right side goals again."
I mean, I kind of predicted in Ascending Coley when you guys were winning. I was like, man, imagine if this was a tiebreaker in the semifinals, and this was pretty damn close. But I guess yeah. For the I guess regarding the scheduling for the third place matchup as well as the grand finals, details to be determined.
Yeah,
Given
we'll determine it pretty quick after we wrap up this broadcast. We're probably thinking like somewhere in the neighborhood of um like a 9:30 start AM so we can have the grand final at 11 AM Eastern. So we'll hash it out here in a little bit, but it's going to be an early day tomorrow.
All right, right on. So I guess I'll put us back into intermission as we end this broadcast for today. We appreciate everybody watching, and of course, Platonic, thank you for doing some co-commentary along with me.
Yeah, no
And
problem. It was
again,
fun.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying it was no problem. It was really fun. I enjoyed the race today.
You better have. Jeez. How much more do you want? If y'all aren't already following this channel now, I don't know what you're doing, okay?
Flywood is just puffing his chest out. He's like, yeah.
I
don't blame you, dude,
Russian,
whatsoever.
Dude. Sorry,
but,
I'm Russian.
But yeah, I definitely look forward to watching the grand finals, and I'm sort of looking forward to the matchup against dlimes. Oh crap!
Hey man, with
man.
the way I'm playing, you could beat me too. Like I'm just like bleh. So
Let's see, we got 101.59, 102.33, 102.37, and I'm all the way over here at 102.50.
yep.
Nah, tomorrow's
I mean,
the day for PB.
Yeah, but hey, it could happen. Anything could happen. I mean, I didn't think it was going to be this close. I knew it was going to be a fierce matchup, but I don't think Platonic and I would imagine it'd be this close. But yeah, congratulations to both of you guys again. And I guess if there's any other remarks I didn't cover, I'm sure you guys just kind of want to, just kind of close out.
Yeah, I need to chill out a little bit. So, I'm good. Thanks for following the channel, folks. And one more day of Very Easy League. The conclusion. It's been months in the making.
Prizes on the line too, so
I know, right?
should be good. Should be good. Got some dough, got some gifts, got a nice perma Discord tag, all kinds of stuff on the line. Bragging rights. So, I mean, anybody who beats me automatically has bragging rights, but I'm washed up. So,
And before dlimes gets world record back,
We need
like
a
I said,
tag in the server that is defeated limes in a race once.
this is my first loss in 2 years on the MGSR channel ever.
baby,
For anything.
Flywood at the
baby.
If I had to lose to somebody though,
Over here.
if I had to lose to somebody though, not a bad person to lose to. So it's always fun racing you, dude.
Ditto. If I were to lose to you, be like, well,
It's normal.
Joey's implying that he doesn't
normal.
want to consider you.
Typical.